Yo, what's good, everybody? Here we go. We're back with another video, and today we are going to be reviewing the first episode of season. Jeez, guys, I have so much TV to keep up with for you guys for the channel. It's been a joy, though. I'm not saying it hasn't been fun, but my God, 3 straight YouTube videos in a row after coming off work. The grind doesn't stop. After this, I'm going to be hopping on the quarry, so head over to my YouTube. I'm going to be live streaming an hour-long playthrough episode, so that's going to be fun. But yeah, it's the premiere of season 2. Let's go over it. You know, like before this season, I didn't care much about Fesco's origin story, but I'm wrong. They kind of highlighted through this. The season opener kicks off with a deep dive into Fesco's upbringing. It's a pretty sad upbringing, and spoiler alert, this is gonna have a lot of spoilers in it. I'm gonna be going over the freaking plot, so go watch the episode before you come here. And ends with the soft-spoken drug dealer cracking Nate over the head with a vodka bottle at a New Year's Eve party. So it's kind of a full circle episode. Things kind of connect to each other. Normally I don't condone violence unless it's against a fictional character I despise. So carry on, Fez. We're rooting for him to do this. Fez and Nate have had a grudge against each other for a while. It's about time he went after him. Yeah. Meanwhile, Rue's heart nearly stops, and Cassie gets trapped in a bathtub. Neither of these are metaphors. They actually happened. It's actually a pretty wild way to open up Season 2. Yeah, let's go. The episode opens on a blonde woman holding a gun and wearing a jacket that reads God's Word, God's Will on the back, and we soon find out that this is Fesco's grandma. She walks into a strip club and makes her way to the back office. I'm sure she probably used to work at the strip club, maybe. Maybe that's why she went in there. I don't know. Where a man is being serviced by a woman wearing very little in the way of clothing. So yeah, obviously this is a very explicit strip club. Why the hell is Kim Kardashian alive? This is the most random shit I've ever seen. What the hell? She's just randomly alive? Okay. Interesting. She says, "Hey, fuckface," shoots him once in each leg, and walks out. That was probably very painful. Back at her car, a little boy with a black eye is waiting quietly in the passenger seat. That was Fesco's dad? She said she just spoke to his daddy. He's going to come live with grandma now. So that's kind of the moment where Fesco starts living with his grandma, who is actually dying right now in the show. As we watch the boy grow up in the blonde woman's care, Rue's voiceover clues us in that we're watching Fesco's story. Of course, I kind of knew this from the start, and Fesco, I feel like they based him off of Mac Miller or Eminem. There's no way they didn't. He reminds me so much of one of those two. Kind of his upbringing. Obviously, he's white. He quickly becomes his drug-dealing grandmother's business partner, accompanying her on deals and handling the books, and this is probably what inspired Fesco to do the same with Ashtray, which we will get to in a little bit. Though this may sound grossly negligent, it's very clear that Grandma loves Fez and wants the best for him. Obviously, they need money, so she wants him to grow up fast and make money quick for the family because it's very urgent. She could be dying very soon, and she ends up actually doing that. She knows she's a drug addict. She knows she's probably going to face health issues later in her life, and she needs Fez to hold up the weight and learn early. So that's kind of what she's doing. That's the premise of it. One day, a woman buying Grandma's product leaves her baby son a collateral and never returns to collect him. So obviously, someone that's collecting the drugs leaves Ashtray. So Ashtray's mother is actually someone that bought product from Fesco, but never came back. Grandma essentially adopts him too, though Fez does most of the child care, and he still does it to this day. He's a really good big brother. They're very supportive of each other. Love how that turned out. The baby becomes known as Ashtray, aka the younger kid that hangs around Fez in the present-day storyline. And we know who Ashtray is. He's one of the most badass kids in the damn show. In show history, honestly. I've never seen a kid so fucking savage. Because he tries to eat discarded cigarette butts near the start of his time in his new home, which is fucking disgusting that they would leave the ashtray out while he's in the bathtub. But, yeah, that's why he's called Ashtray. They were a family. Yeah. It wasn't always an ideal situation, but they were still family. They still supported each other thick and thin. That's kind of what Rue was saying in the voiceover. During an angry attack on someone who wronged her, for instance, Grandma accidentally hits Fez in the head with a crowbar and gives him a concussion. That was kind of a funny moment, but at the same time it wasn't. And when she collapses one night after dinner while Fez is still a young boy, he drives her to the hospital rather than call the ambulance to come to the house, which adversely affects her condition, makes her even worse. It could have been a lot urgent. If they came to the house, though, they probably could have smelt drugs and shit and called the authorities. So that's probably why Fez didn't do that. That was smart at the end of the day. She is still alive. I don't know how old she is in the show today, but I think that was a good decision for Fez, showing his street smarts there. The next thing he knew, he had a business to run and a little brother to take care of. So his grandma was obviously so bad, we know this nowadays, that she couldn't help with the drug business anymore. And however hard he thought life was, it got harder and more complicated as he went. Because the more you move up in the world, the more enemies you make. So the more successful Fezco's business was, the more he knew, like, people were going to come after him and he had a target on his back, you know? Next thing we know, that was kind of the end of Fezco's origin story. I actually thought they were going to do that last season, but they decided to wait. Next thing we know, it's New Year's Eve, and a somewhat high Rue is in Fez's car, rapping along to Tupac's Hit 'Em Up in the backseat, while an armed Ash rides shotgun. It's kind of annoying, but I think it's kind of fire that Rue was rapping to some Pac. Fezco makes a stop to do some business, telling Rue to stay put. Kind of suspicious. They're at like this apartment, like motel complex, where most of the drug deals happen, really. The guy he's dealing with has a girlfriend, Faye, who also gets put in the backseat while the males do business. Probably not a good idea for the male either to even bring a girl in this situation when the drugs are happening. It takes Rue all of 2 minutes before she launches into the sad ballad of Rue and Jules, but Faye's got other things on her mind. Namely, shooting heroin into her thigh, while a slightly freaked out Rue wonders if that's a great idea. I don't know, Rue, you tell me. You've been doing a lot of drugs throughout this damn series. Are you sure you're gonna stop now? I don't know. So Rue kind of venting about her to a complete stranger, by the way. She doesn't know who Faye is. I don't know if Faye even went to her high school or anything, but she's like venting about her situation with Jules and stuff. Without warning, two men yank Rue and Faye out of the vehicle and march them into the apartment where Fez and Ash are negotiating. So these are some pretty damn shady people. I kind of knew that from the start, but yeah. An aggressive guy named Brucey is very angry about the idea that someone might be wearing a wire, so he puts on Jerry Rafferty's Right Down the Line and demands that everyone except Ash, who gets stashed in a closet, strip naked. You know Zendaya is not stripping naked because she's put at the brink of that, and Euphoria teases their fans. She has a no nudity clause signed with the company, or signed with HBO, whatever director's development it was. Very creepy people. This was one of the weirdest, most odd drug deals I've ever seen on TV, and it's TV, guys. Rue is very hesitant to do so, and when Brucey realizes she's the last to disrobe, he grabs her, and the audience gets very worried about what's going to happen next. She gets dragged into this room and has this kind of rapey environment. He might do something sexual to her. That's kind of what I thought was going to happen. But she got lucky. But all he does is throw her in the tub, turn on the shower, and make her pull up her shirt and pull down her pants. So pretty much just flash him real quick and then go back out. When everyone is reassembled in the kitchen, a woman named Lori, who seems to be running the show, wonders where Mouse is. You remember the scary dude from last season who actually ended up getting killed alongside his money guy? And yeah, Ash killed him with a hammer. Very fucking savage. It was one of the greatest moments I've seen in this show. Then Lori wonders what Rue is doing there, and Fez responds that she's family and that he trusts her with his life. I don't know why. I mean, people are very careful in the drug trade. We see that with the meth stuff going on in Breaking Bad. 2 shows that involve drugs, kind of making you aware of the scene. Not, like, fully accurately, but yeah. Seemingly satisfied with his answers, he retrieves a blue suitcase full of pill bottles from the closet and asks, "So you all ready to do some business?" Fez gives her a wad of cash and they leave. So it ends up going smoothly. No one gets killed. No one gets sexually assaulted. Nothing bad happens. In the car after, Rue is a chatterbox, laughing about what they just witnessed, but her nonchalance irritates Fez, and honestly it would irritate me too. You literally nearly got sexually assaulted. Someone turned the shower on, made you flash your shirt and your pants, and yeah. Like, he points out how dangerous the situation was, but she counters that Lori was a badass, and he grudgingly concurs. I mean, one of the only female drug dealers I've ever seen, too. I agree with Rue. So yeah, we're going to go to this New Year's party. At a New Year's Eve house party, Lexi can't find Cassie, who was driving over with her, who got out of the car after the sisters argued. She's drunk and drugged up a little bit by now. We find Cassie tipsy at a convenience store, which is where Nate, who's there to buy a six-pack, finds her. So these two kind of cross paths early. He gives her a beers. They talk about how she broke up with McKay and he's no longer with Maddie. So they're both kind of similar in a way. They both are just dealing with breakups and they kind of bond over it. Cassie murmurs something about how she's just trying to focus on herself because she keeps making mistakes, and he wonders if she wants a ride to the party. Nate trying to be this nice guy, but deep down we know he is a fucking asshole, okay? That's just all I'm going to say about that. They both continue to drink as he drives, and she's giggling and enjoying herself until Nate pushes their speed near the triple digits now. I thought something bad was going to happen, but obviously Nate and Cassie are too big of characters for something to happen just yet. And when he hits a bump, the beer he's holding below her knees splashes all over her dress. Naturally, the only solution to this is to shimmy out of her undies while he watches. So yeah, she's getting very sexual. She's very comfortable around Nate. I don't know, I guess there's some charm about the guy, but he's an asshole. People should know he's very sexual. He's very aggressive. It's kind of risky to have your goodies out in a car with him. The next time we see Cassie, she and Nate are going at it against the bathroom door at the party, having sex, and Maddie is banging on the door from the hallway because she has to pee. Now, what a coincidence that bathroom, those two meet. When Nate yells at the knocking, unaware it's his ex on the other side, she recognizes his voice, and Cassie starts to freak out because, look, Cassie and Maddie are very good friends, and she doesn't want Maddie to know that she is with Nate right now. Sobbing, Cassie whispers to Nate that Maddie is her best friend. He obviously knows this, and Maddie won't relent. So eventually Cassie lies down in the tub with the shower curtain pulled closed, and Nate exits in as casual a manner as possible. When your ex thinks you've just spent a lot of time dropping a deuce at a party, in reality, that's not what he did. Yeah, Maddie was very relentless. Wow. Cassie is trapped for a while, guys. Like, a lot of people come and go in the bathroom, and she's still just chilling there. After Maddie does her thing, and there's a whole bit with a hand towel in Cassie's face that I won't go into, but it's gross. No, I'll go into it. There's no toilet paper. She's peeing. At least she's not shitting. She wipes her pee off with the towel and throws it on Cassie's face. Pretty gross. A guy named Travis, comes in and asks her if she wants to smoke with him. They flirt and eventually wind up leaving to go dance. So I guess Maddie found a new partner to make Nate jealous. But that's when another dude comes in to drop the kids off at the pool, and Cassie finally makes her presence known and gets out of there. Mind you, this guy's dick is out and everything, so yeah. Everyone is at the party. Jules, now with a bob, laughs with Kat, who's very lovey-dovey with Ethan, so Jules is back from her trip. Jules says her goal tonight is to black out this entire fucking stupid year, get so drunk she forgot what happened, pretty much. I don't know if I can relate to that. Fez very sweetly flirts with Lex. At one point, he calls her the coolest person in here, and he seems genuinely impressed with her intelligence, and they exchange numbers. That's an interesting one. That's something I didn't really expect. Fezco and Lexi connecting at the party. McKay and Cassie have a talk that leaves them both crying, obviously. This has happened to them multiple times. They're in a tumultuous relationship. When Nate interrogates his pal about it, though, he assumes the exes slept together and won't stop asking crude questions about how it all unfolded. He's just too sexual, too perverted of a guy to leave it alone. I'll say it several times this season, I'm sure, but Nate is the worst. You know, Nate is a terrible character. He's an asshole. I've said it a lot of times. Rue is at the bash as well and doesn't take her long to A, find Faye's heroin in Fez's car and shoot up, and B, then find a guy, musician Dominic Fike. This is when we're introduced to Dominic Fike in the show, doing drugs in the laundry room. She said if he tells her what drugs he's doing, she'll tell him what drugs she's doing, you know, to introduce each other. I guess that's how drug addicts introduce each other anymore. But pretty soon she realizes that her heart isn't beating the way it should, and she weakly asks her new friend to take her pulse. She thinks she's dying, which has happened multiple times throughout her life. When it becomes clear that she might be going into cardiac arrest, she instructs him to crush up some of her Adderall so she can snort it. I guess making her more alive? I don't know. The DIY fix works, and Rue chuckles as things normalize. I don't know why she's one of the most lighthearted people ever. She takes things with a positivity, with a optimism. That's not always appropriate, though. She said she's not sure it's a good thing. Or the guy says He's not sure it's a good thing she's better, but he high-fives her anyway. Yeah, at one point, Jules tells Kat that when she was with Rue, her world got too small and it didn't feel good. So that's kind of the truth on why she wanted to leave Rue. Nevertheless, Jules is drawn to her former best friend. I don't know if they're still friends anymore. It's kind of a confusing thing. And is upset as she asks when Rue relapsed. Rue said the night she left. Later, right before midnight, Rue finds Jules and apologizes for being mean. She's just having a tough time, Rue added in. They admit that they miss each other, and Rue says she really wants to be with Jules. At midnight, they kiss. At New Year's, they kiss. It's appropriate. Nate, too, gets a New Year's kiss from Karma, and it puckers up and gives it to him right in his face. Fesco finds Nate at the bar and makes small talk about New Year's resolutions. Then Fez smashes a bottle of Tito's over Nate's head, knocking him to the ground. Fez is unrelenting as he pounds the football player's face. Eventually someone pulls him off, and Maddie, McKay, Cassie, and who knows who else carries an unconscious Nate out of the party. So not only at the end of the episode does Nate get embarrassed, something's wrong with that guy. You better check on him. Fesco beat the shit out of him. So yeah, he probably deserved it. Good for Fesco. That is one of the best revenge things I've ever seen, man. But yeah, I'm out.